the sexually attractive silent type. Now, I know what somebody is thinking. They're like, "Oh, that's cap. That's cope. You're not silent and mysterious. You're forcefully lonely. You're a lonely loser. You're somebody who couldn't get friends, couldn't socialize even if you wanted to, right? Because we all have, we got these channels on here that talk about Sigma males. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a Sigma male. I'm a Kappa Omega male, and I'm a lone wolf, and I roam the streets all alone, and I'm sexually attractive, and I choose not to deal with girls because I deal with them on my own time because you know, I'm an Omega male or whatever. I'm an alpha male, and I deal with women on my own terms. When in all reality, the dude is lonely forcefully, and he couldn't get abroad if he wanted. But this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about guys who obviously are obviously get choosing signals, whatever you want to call it, obviously get play, obviously can get a chick to go out with them, or be intimate, whatever it is, but they're more on a silent type. And I'm gonna get into it. This is Tarik Talks. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So sometimes I also get people talking about, don't try to force it if you're not the silent or introverted type. And I completely agree. This video is not telling you to do that. This video is just kind of talking to guys who could relate to this, because if you guys know me personally, and some people might, I used to talk. I used to be extremely social. I used to always want to be in a mix and always want to go here and, hey, yeah, who's throwing a party, or where's everything happening at? Used to be me. Completely stopped that. I barely fucking talk anymore. You know what I mean? And even when I was single, up till now, I kind of turned into that kind of type, and I would still get chicks. Okay, I would still get whatever you want to call them, choosing signals or attraction signals, whatever name you want. And a lot of guys can relate to this, because even though they are introverted, they're still sexually attractive, meaning women are still interested in them. Now, a huge disclaimer. Does that mean that you're never gonna talk? Absolutely not. Don't think you're gonna walk in a building like you're freaking Batman, like you're the Dark Knight, all mysterious, and you turn around and you swoosh your cape and you disappear, and chicks are gonna be like, oh my God, No, that's not what it is, because there's extremes to everything. There's a little too quiet, okay? So there's nuances, but for the most part, the way that I describe it is, you're quieter than most. You kind of stay to yourself more than other dudes. You tend to be less verbose than other men, because the perfect environment to see this in is work. It's the best environment that I can think of. It's pretty much damn near the closest thing to a community that you want to name or describe, right? You got a group of people, and a lot of times what you'll notice is that when there's boys and girls, when there's men and women, a lot of the guys are going to be very verbose, especially around women, okay? Especially around women, they're going to be cracking jokes every 5 minutes, and they're going to be trying to be a funny guy and try all these parlor tricks and just make a show, make a spectacle. Okay, so and you'll notice this in a lot of work environments, or even in school. Every dude wants to be that popular guy. Every guy wants to be that popular, look at me, I got all this stuff going on, look at my Instagram, look at Look at all the fun, cool stuff I'm doing, right? And there's guys that are kind of under the radar. Now, another quick disclaimer to this. Notice I said sexually attractive, okay? And of course, it's not going to be to every single chick, right? There's no such thing as an objectively sexually attractive man, okay? But for the most part, you're going to catch attention of a good amount, more than the usual guy, okay? More than the usual dude. But you're going to be more on the quieter side, meaning, hey, look, yeah, you'll talk to her and stuff like that, but a lot of times it's she done seen you first. She saw you before she actually heard you. And let's use the work thing as an example again. Before you decided to do your Kevin Hart bit at work and make a whole bunch of jokes and be loud, be rambunctious. And there's nothing wrong if that's your personality, okay? There's nothing wrong if that is your personality. But I'm talking, like I said, to the more introverted guys. Trust and believe, if you are sexually attractive, right? If you are somewhat physically built, okay? You got a nice little physique on you. You are presented relatively well, okay? And the way you walk and the way that you even interact with people, even though you're more on the quieter. Now, when I say quiet, you know what I'm saying? When I'm saying quiet, doesn't mean you don't talk ever. Like I said, it just means a little less, a lot less than most guys. And she's going to notice, you know, she's going to be, a lot of times, fellas, or most of the time, if a chick likes what she sees, she's going to be watching you from a distance. You might not even realize it. You might be doing what you're doing. You might be walking around. You might be on your computer or whatever your job is. You work in a warehouse, or you work IT, or you work in a hospital. Whatever your occupation is, you're just going to be walking around. You're going to be walking around, and a lot of times, believe it or not, chicks are, and especially if there's groups of them, okay? Like I said, let's go back to school. If you're in school, let's go back to work if you're in work, or gym, whatever the case is. Especially if there's a group of women and you are sexually attractive, they're going to be huddled up looking at you. And they're going to be like, yeah, he, you know what I mean? They're going to probably be talking nasty because, hey, look, chicks behind, when they talk amongst each other, it can get a little raunchy, okay? It can get a little raunchy. But they're talking amongst each other like, oh, yeah, girl, yeah, you see him over there? Yeah, I like what I see, and he's this and he's that. And they'll be talking amongst each other, and you won't even know it. You won't even know it. But just by you doing what you're doing, okay? And body language is more, you know, it is a form of communication. Body language is a form of communication. So if you got your physique right, if you got your head on right, and you got some kind of confidence, and hey, look, part of being masculine, you know, is kind of that walking with a little bit, it's more, not completely, but it's a little more on a serious side, just a little bit. And I say a little bit, you guys know me, you know I crack jokes, you know I love to crack jokes, right? You know I like to keep things lighthearted. So I'm not saying you're gonna walk around here looking like you're about to rip somebody's head off, or looking like you're about to punch a hole in a wall, okay? Not at all. But you carry yourself, you know, you carry yourself in a respectable manner. Because like I said, a lot of guys, they kind of have this very juvenile, very childish type of aura to them. Not saying if you're one of these silent types that you're just this, oh my God, super mature, super, you know, stoic and all this type of crap. No, I'm just saying you carry yourself in a more man type of way. You carry yourself like a man. Not saying that when you do interact with her that you're not gonna crack a joke or two, you know, make her smile, make her laugh. Because a lot of times, man, even when I was in my little rambunctious phase or whatever like that, what I would do is I would, you know what I'm saying, I would go, you know, I would go talk to the chick on the low. I would talk to her on the low because I could just feel it. You know, another thing with sexually attractive dudes, they could pick up, or men who do well with women, okay? They could pick up when a chick is checking them out. They can pick up when a chick has, like, when there's tension between him and that chick. So I would go on the low, talk to him, like, yo, what's up, you know, what's your phone number? Let's chill, let's hang out. Bam. And then, you know, later on, dudes would be like, dang, that was quick. You talked to her and you know, you did this and that with her that quick. I'm like, yeah, you know, because when you're essentially attractive, you really don't have to do or say too much. Notice I said too much because you're still going to have to interact with her at some point. You're still going to have to go up, or she might say something to you very passively, and that's like an opening for you to talk to her, you know, and then you start talking to her, and you're like, hey, what's going on? Then she's like, dang, this guy's actually cool. He's quiet and he's cool. You know, he's quiet, but he's cool. And, you know, guys, women like men that are more on the reserve side just a little bit. Just a tad bit. You know, because being rambunctious and stuff is cool. Sometimes you just need to shut the fuck, you know what I'm saying? You just need to be quiet just a little bit. And like I said, I'm not telling no one to switch it up. I'm just saying it's better to be as a man, it's better to be a little more on a reserve side. Even if you are rambunctious or extroverted. Hey, look, women like a dude who's a little more reserved. Okay? So if you guys like this video, let me know. Peace.